This is Joel, and I'm here to talk a little bit about how the third grade activity list comes together. Just know that this was a 6 year process. We did not start off with this, but over time we have added some things, taken some things away, and we think we found a system that somewhat works for us. So we always start with reading, and we list our learning goal at the top. How can I use literary elements in my reading? And then we will find what we feel is a good learn for that. We'll have some items maybe on our scaffold, or maybe somebody will just come across it and be like, oh, hey, I used this last year. It was awesome. We'll take a look at it and we'll decide what we want to put up there as our big learn piece on the activity list. Then we'll have a practice. This activity list only has one practice. Sometimes it's a couple. It just depends on the standard and what we want them to get from the reading. And then we have what's called a show what you know, and that's the graded piece. So this Rosie Revere comes from our new reading series. The story is in the book, and then we have some questions for it that the kids will turn in for a grade. And that is located in Resource Drawer 1. So that's how we show them, hey, you need to go get this from your actual resource table by bolding it there. So we always start with the reading. We'll find what we think works for that particular learning goal, and then we'll put it on our activity list. Sometimes we have a lot of other items as well that we think are pretty good, and we'll throw them at the bottom of the teacher activity list as possible benchmark lessons. And then teachers can just sort of pick and choose which ones they think will work for their class or which ones they want to do with their class. After the reading section, we always go into our content area, depending whatever our current ALU is based around. So this one is a science one, and we'll fill in our different science standards that we need the kids to learn. So for this one, there are 3 different standards that we're working on for science. One is about the light and heat energy, and so we have a learn with that. There's a practice and then a show what you know that they must do. Then the C section is friction. So again, we have a learn. This time they can choose one of the learns. Then we have choose 2 or more from the different practices. And then again, a show what you know. And then we have our how does light travel section. So there's a couple learns. One of those is a Little Bit Learning Center, which the kids know that they'll get to with Mrs. McCorkle. They actually went down and did it. It was pretty fun. They loved it. And then there's your practice, and then again, your show what you know. So again, just like the reading section, all of these things have either come from our scaffolds, things that we have done previously that we liked. Some of them have come from different, like this Little Bits Center came up from something that we had to do a few years ago in professional development, and we're like, hey, okay, we can actually use this. Some of them come from Discovery Ed. So we just compile these things into an activity list that we can all agree looks good and then meets the standards that we need. One thing I do want to mention, this came I think from second grade, this D1, D2, D3. That has been a lifesaver as far as getting kids to use the help board. Previously, when they went to the help board, they would write their name and then they'd write something like, how does light move? Okay, well, that's a lot for a kid to write, so a lot of times it would wind up just being a name on the activity list. With this D1, now the kid can go to the help board, just write D1 up there, and I know, oh, that kid needs help with D1. And then if there's a collection of kids who need help with D1, I can pull them all and touch base at the same time. After the D section, after our science and social studies, we usually throw in our writing. And so there's some practice with this particular writing. We did the learning on the previous activity list. So there's practice on this one. And then there's the show what you know, which is the actual writing that they're going to turn in. A lot of teachers on our team have decided to have their whole class write at the exact same time, because then the classroom is quiet and we're getting better product out of it versus just putting it on the activity list and letting kids tackle writing whenever they feel like it. A lot of them will put it off till the end and then they'll rush through it. So if we just set one section of time aside and we're like, hey, everybody's going to write during this time, we found that we've gotten better product from that. There's usually a spelling and grammar section that goes along with our reading series. Then this section G. So sometimes it's F, G, H, but somewhere down around the bottom of our activity list is our actual task. And once kids have completed the other items, then they're ready to work on their task. For this particular one, they are using the design process to build a solar oven. And then once they get done with all of that, we throw in our culture pieces, or the pieces that we want to make them well-rounded students and to learn about people and groups other than themselves. So this particular activity list fell in Black History Month, so we threw on a section about famous Black Americans and how we can celebrate them. Our next one has women on it. There's one later down in the year with Indo-Americans. So we just try to throw on a section at the bottom that kids can interact and learn and read about people who aren't like them, or in some instances, people that are like them, and they can have a model of somebody who they can look up to and say, "Hey, that person looks like me." So that's our activity list. That's how it comes together. Lots of deleting and adding, and we do some of it individually, but we'll usually come together as a team to go through it and make sure we're all good with the final result. And then at the bottom of the teacher one, we'll have a teacher activity list and a student one. This is where we throw all of our standards and our different benchmark lessons that we can do. So reading, math, writing, and social studies, science. So that's what a third grade activity list looks like. That's how it comes together. Hope this was helpful for some of you. Have a great day.